Well, hey, you guys, I hope you enjoyed the balloon rockets that you had a chance to explore with that last week. And hopefully you were all successful getting the rocket to go down the fishing line. And as you know, that has to do with the third law of motion. And I've also asked that you begin to write a statement about how you can describe everything that you see in terms of motion. Sometimes we could call that a rule, or like in Newton's case, he called it a law, the laws of motion. And another way to look at that is kind of like a recipe. So if I have an event that happens, something to do with motion, I should be able to describe that without using Newton's ways, his words. I need my own words to do that. In science, we call that a model. It's a statement that describes what's going on. And so I'm having you basically create a model. I've asked you to draw some pictures perhaps to help you illustrate what that model would look like. So from here on out, we're going to call that a model. If you haven't fully developed your model, you need to do that for class next week. So get out your science notebooks and work on that a little bit. The other thing I'd like you to work on as homework this week is to go back to the learner goals. I gave these to you at the very beginning of class. I think we taped them into yours or glued them into your science notebook. They're also on the web page, so if you don't have them, you can go back and take a look at those. But right now, before you come to class next week, in your notebooks, I would like you to define the words that are on your learner goals page at the top. We've talked about every one of these, so you should be able to go back to your notes. You should go back to some of the other videos that I've created, and you should be able to define, write down a definition for each of those terms. In the middle of the learner goals page are examples that you should be able to provide for evidence that you can do these things. So you should be able to give an example of the first law of motion. You should be able to give an example of what potential energy is all about. So in your notebooks, write down examples of each of those terms that you see right there. And then also just go through this list and make sure you can do these things. In other words, put a check mark beside those and say, yes, I can complete assigned lab activities. I can complete the experiences between classes each week, the homework, things like that. And just put a check mark that yes, you can do that. If there's anything that you can't do or kind of questioning that you're able to do, put a question mark beside it. So you should come to class with two things next week. You should have your model all written out, diagrams. Put that on a totally separate page in your notebook so it's easy for us to see that so it's not mixed in with something else. So rewrite it on a separate page and then make sure that you have all of your learner goals filled out. Okay, so that's it for next week and I'll see you later. Thanks, bye.